Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, it's... Oh. I know he didn't do it, baby.
Hold on a second. Whoa. Where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop balls.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Bradley DLO Thomas. By day, I am a marketing and IT professional. At night, I am an MC and producer, and I'm Pastor Mike.
Hey, what's good? It's your girl, Opal Elisa. By day, I'm director of multicultural business strategy for a large financial firm. By passion, I am an MC, poet, spoken word artist, author, etc., etc. I'll pass the mic.
By day, I'm CEO and owner. By night, I'm CEO and owner. Y'all see my green lights back here, though? Hey.
Yeah, we see.
I had to change that, the black currency. Yeah, I had to change it for the drink.
Okay.
I like that.
I like the branding. I like that. So today we have a very, 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 very special guest. Matter of fact, the first guest that we ever had on the Black Currency, BLK Currency podcast. She is the founder and the CEO of the Melanin Project, and we're here to talk about the upcoming wealth literacy conference that is sold out, by the way. So we've been trying to tell y'all, get your tickets, but now you can't get your tickets. So maybe you'll have to find another way to get that information. But we know it's going to be exciting, and we're really excited to talk about it. So we know that one of our favorite episodes was the wealth management. I tell people about it. People have always talked about it. It's got tons of views on YouTube, got tons of downloads and streams. So how you been? How's life been treating you?
I'm doing well. It's great to be back on the podcast with y'all, linking up. I've been busy, and I'm really excited to, really bring this conference to life and, get some bigger motion going, a bigger movement around, wealth literacy. So I'm really excited, y'all.
Cool.
Nice,
so, did you want to go, Opal, or you want to?
Oh no, you can go.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
I was just agreeing. Sorry, I'm just at church. Like, well, amen.
Look at y'all sharing the rock. That's teamwork right there.
Gotta pass the rock. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's how we do. So, wealth literacy conference. To me, that's very specific. It's not just getting rich. It's wealth literacy, which I thought that was very unique in that name. So what can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to do this and to put this together here in the community so that everybody can have a hands-on, just right there in your face, good experience and learning all the things that you're going to be talking about in this conference. So can you kind of walk us through your thought process and the inspiration process?
Yeah, I really wanted to do sort of what I was doing with the Melanin Project, just on a larger and grander scale. So I had been really thinking about this for quite some time and figuring out, how to cultivate it, what was needed, what type of pillars to kind of bring in. And of course, I met my co-host in an accelerator program here, the Urban League's G Alpha program put on by the Generator. And to see another Black woman that was in finance and real estate, we stayed in contact, and I approached her and said, hey, would you want to co-host this event for me? I had the name of Wealth Literacy Conference, and this is what I'm considering. And so she jumped on board. And one of the things that, we really deeply discussed was that financial literacy is always this huge focus. Of course, with the Melanin Project, I've always been focused on wealth building. It's in my mission statement because I think that the budget is always one factor. And oftentimes that is where we focus at, the numbers, and to focus on what you don't have is sort of the point of reference for most people when it relates to finance, especially when you don't have money, right? And that's sort of the mentality that we have, and that's always problematic. So thinking about wealth literacy is transformational because it's going to hit a lot of areas of a person's life, such as economic mobility, your career, navigating that, the mindset pieces and factors that we don't always consider and think about, bringing in the budget into that. That's a financial literacy piece. And then, of course, the action steps are important, but there's all these in-between things of wealth literacy that you don't really think about: estate, trust planning, taxes, accounting. That's that next level. But I think that with communities of color specifically, we don't know how to pivot out of certain things. So that's going to be a big aspect of this conference. And the one thing that I want people to understand, that coming into this conference, we're not talking about our experiences of racism and oppression. I think that's a part of the issue. And again, I'm not negating that experience doesn't take place. But in this conference, we're focusing on ourselves as individuals and how we can empower ourselves and be the creator of our own worlds around our finance. Because mindset is very critical as you start to unravel the pieces of the puzzle, and everybody's sort of vision for their life and what wealth looks like for them, and their story is going to be very different. So I'm looking forward to kind of cultivating that very uniquely. And we're going to have a conversation. It's a conference, but we're going to be intimate. It's such a small setting, which would allow us to be able to do that. So to me, wealth literacy is transformational in that it's going to hit a segment. And the pillars that we brought in are mindset, community, and action, because no matter what level you are, those are going to navigate with you wherever you go. I'm still using these same pillars today. They've never left me. And it's a critical component of wealth literacy.
Cool.
I love that. I love that you said people can come and focus on themselves, right? Like this is for you to be able to build, right? Because you're right. So many folks, especially our folks in the Black community, have been in so many spaces, especially since 2020, where you're just dwelling in some of the trauma and the hurt, or you're helping other people along. And I love that this is focusing on us, taking care of us and starting to build that wealth. So that's a big leap though, right? So like I've known you to do, you do online courses, you've been on several panels since you were on here last, but taking it into like this conference setting, like in person, large folks all day, several speakers. Can you talk about what that process has been like? Like, are there any things you learned along the way? Any like fears you had to face taking that leap to make something so big?
Yeah. I'm glad you asked this question, because I think people see the beautification of something, the vanity of it, how pretty it looks, the branding looks really nice. But they don't see the behind the scenes, the work you have to put in, right? The early mornings and the late nights. And I don't care if you are doing anything new, you're going to feel a little fear. It's going to feel scary. Yes, I woke up and asked myself, what are you doing? But I know that this is a very important journey that I'm so happy that I've been on, that I feel the need to just give back in this way. And I know the only way for me to do that is to face my fear. I have to practice what I preach. So if I'm going to tell other people to take the journey into entrepreneurship, or to investing, or buying property, I have to put my money where my mouth is and show people the path to doing that. And so I think the worst that could happen is I could fail, and I'm going to learn from the failure. Like, I have learned so much in 4 months. It's amazing. I built new relationships in the last 4 months. And one of the things I'm going to bring into the conference this year is a part of why we won't face our fears is we lack confidence in ourselves. And if you look at the root word of confidence, is to confide. And confide means to trust. We don't trust ourselves to be successful or to be able to do a thing. But once you get started, you're hungry, you're ready, you don't want to fail. And we started this journey with no money. So that's sight unseen. You don't have any money. There's nobody on board yet, but yet you're reaching out to speakers, you're reaching out to podcasts, you're reaching out to panelists, you're reaching out to food vendors, and you have no money. So a part of you has to have some sort of belief that you're going to be okay, you're going to make it. And if you have to turn around or you have to leave it where it is, it's okay. At least you learned along the journey. And I look at that as sort of the wealth literacy journey, right? You're going to make some mistakes along the way, but are you not going to try something out because you fear it? And so for me, I don't really face my fears anymore. I chase them. I literally look for what's next, what's bigger, what's going to be more grander. How can I make a big impact in a like a one-time bang? And I think this was what this conference is going to do, because if I can get this to resonate in 10 people, each one teach one, right? They're going to go out and teach other people what they learned, what they heard, what to do, the connection to the network, the connection to the community, and building that network here and kind of being the catalyst of wealth literacy right here in my backyard. You need something related to wealth literacy, contact the Wealth Literacy Conference, contact the crew over there so they can connect you into a community resource. So, there's a big vision for it, but absolutely, I faced my fear on this one. It's been some long days and nights. I have no regrets about anything that I've done in the last 4.5 months related to this project.
Nice. And you sold out. I mean, what's better than that? What is better than that?
Right.
Amazing. That's sold out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
You speak to chasing your fears, almost like, really trying to take things to that next level, to basically jump in the water with no life jacket. Say, I'm just going to jump in and make things happen. And there's a term that you've used, mentality of wealth, or wealth mentality. If I see if I can get that correctly, mentality of wealth. Like I said the first time, is one. What is that, and is what you're doing a part of that mentality of wealth, of facing your fears, jumping in with no life jacket, and just going after it, just being aggressive and going after it.
And this is definitely a mindset. It's definitely that mentality, because you have to believe that you're already there. It can't be something that you're yearning for. And a lot of times when you're broke, you're looking for something that you don't have. You're looking for the absence of. So you're walking around like you don't have, and that impacts you mentally and emotionally. When you're having anxiety or depression, you're either looking too far in the future or too far in the past. You're not living in the present moment, the moment of gratitude for everything that you've overcome. That's a mentality. That's a mindset. So for me, it's like, I'm putting on a conference and ain't nobody going to stop me. If I go over here and they say no, I'm going to go over these other 5 doors. But I refuse to stop until I got access to what I needed. I reached out to my network, that community that I needed, that I've been building for 4.5 years. I've been on this journey for 4.5 years. So you look at Wealth Literacy Conference and you're like 4.5 months, but it's really been 4.5 years of me putting in work as an entrepreneur, free events, right? Learning how to use social media, having my head half cut off and my graphics are wrong, and having, wrong language, making those mistakes, getting into courses to teach me about social media, asking my friends about branding and marketing, and learning how to build my own website. And again, getting into these entrepreneurship programs that were designed to show me different things. And no, they're not all perfect, but these are networks that I still have access to do. That's a mentality. So when you lack confidence in something or belief in yourself, sometimes your network, your friends, your close family members, people that are understanding what you're trying to do, they'll give you that word that'll turn you around a little bit. That mentor will give you that word to turn you around. But when I think about specifically about money, there are mindsets related to that, right? And to me, the difference with the mindsets is how we believe money should be used, the purpose of money, right? And if you think about the mindset of a person who has a poor mindset, a middle class mindset, or a wealthy mindset, they have all different mindsets about what they believe the purpose of money is. And so a poor mindset is that I believe money is to pay bills. Middle class mindset believes that the purpose of money is to be able to have great credit so that I can borrow from that and pay it back, right? I'm gonna go out and buy, couch or something like that. I have that great credit so that I can borrow from that credit to go get that. But a wealthy mindset, you want to build assets. You want to take that money and double it and triple it, because you know that with that, then you can have the poor and the middle class stuff taken care of, because you got money flowing in. You've already doubled and tripled your money, right? So to me, I'm at a point now where I don't want to show off, right? I want to write off. Like, give me some. Let's go. So I don't care if you look at my dirty chucks. Now, I just bought 3 pair of shoes today. I'm just gonna tell you, I deserved it. I worked hard and I had a deposit. And I'm gonna treat myself a little bit. It has to be about balance, because you can't go too far scarce, but you also can't be naive and to say, I'm at this place because everybody else outside of me needs to change and fix. And I think that's a dangerous mindset to have, where we're asking the outside world to control our experience. And that's what's happening a lot of times with communities of color. We don't see our own power and the ability to harness it. It is really hard to tell someone who is living in poverty and that's broke, that they need to change their mindset. You can't just say it like that.
Right.
You have to be careful. They'll take that offensive. I'd be offended. Like, I'm broke and you sitting there tell me I need to change my mindset. But in reality, that's a huge part of it. The liberation of the mind.
Absolutely.
Going to attack whatever it is you're processing and dealing with and whatever you're bringing into that work environment, because I don't care what you're doing to me at work. I don't even pay attention to that anymore. I'm focused on using this as a tool to leverage everything else. And you can do whatever it is that you want to do or say to me. I'm still going to be focused because I have goals and I'm not really worried about that. I'm using this job for professional development. It's free. It's free education. That's a mentality.
Yeah.
And so bringing that into the conference this year will really help people understand that we have to be living our lives in a certain way so that the resources that we need will kind of show up. They will just randomly show up, randomly show up.
Ooh, that's so good. Ooh, that hit. Like I talk to my mom about that all the time. I'm like, you got to change your mind. And she's like, I'm like, didn't you see me do it? Like, I was talking different before I had anything. I started talking different, changing my mind. You're so right, Afra. Like, it is, you got to do the mental first. And it feels weird. It feels magic. But yeah, you got to do it. You're absolutely right. So many gems right there. Woo.
Man, that whole man. Go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm like, I swear I'm gonna share the rock a little later.
Right.
I'm trying to take my shot here.
All right, Jordan. All right. You know what I'm saying? I'll play Pippin right now. You know what I'm saying?
So that got me thinking about. I had a question, and then my question reformed. So when you're talking about that wealth, that wealth mentality, I was also thinking about that entrepreneurship mentality, and then how those things are relational, how they kind of work together. Because I think the basis of your relationship with money and wealth will play into how you run your business. And you're talking about that mindset. So it's like that, I mean, please fill in for me because you can more eloquently speak to this than me. But I'm starting to see the building blocks of that relationship, because if you have a bad mindset around money and you enter an entrepreneurial space, you're going to make some of those same mistakes in the business lane that you would in your own personal and family lane. And to me, that's like, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is people focus on the wrong thing. You can't focus on the money.
Right.
The money is not what's important. And the more you focus on that, the less you'll have, because it becomes you focusing on the lack thereof of what you don't have. In entrepreneurship, if you're not prepared to be in business for 4 years and not make a dime, then you shouldn't be doing it, because that's the risk that you're taking. Are you there to solely just focus on that one thing? If you have a skill, focus on honing that skill, making it better, getting your name out there, and not the money. It cannot be about the money, but you also have to build your business appropriately so that you're not over leveraging yourself. And so when those moments come where you're like overwhelmed or you're not making $1, I was in business a year and a half before I made $99. When I tell you I was excited about that $99, it was amazing. I was like, yes, $99. Like, you got to celebrate that. But I also built my business very mindfully. But I knew that I had a mission to serve. I was good at something, and eventually I would figure it out. But you also have to learn the art of the pivot when you're in business. Like, sometimes you do something and it just doesn't work. So you got to pivot, and that's life, right? You're at a job and something's not right. Something's not going right. You get all kind of alarms and bells and whistles, and everybody just keeps snoozing. We just keep snoozing on. We're not listening to how our bodies are feeling, what it's telling us. We just keep trying to force. You get a pivot, and it's okay. That's just a part of life, but you can't beat yourself up about it, and live in the past and the future of that. But as an entrepreneur, I think that I love the world of entrepreneurship because I'm in control of what I'm doing, and I'm learning how to build a business. It is fun to learn how to build a business and to see the mistakes that I've made today and the mistakes that I can share with other people that don't do that. Go over here. This is what I did. This is what you're going to deal with. And the same thing happens to me when I'm working with people on their budgets, because I have to understand your why. Your why is never going to be my why. Like, what do you value in life? Where are you trying to go with this thing? Because I know I'm a multimillionaire, right? That's how I speak to myself. I am a multimillionaire. I am a real estate mogul. I'm an author. I'm a motivational speaker. I am affirming my identity. I am already there. I don't have to have that in my bank account to know that I feel all of that already, because that's what's around me. Those are the people that are around me, right?
Mhm.
Those are the credit cards I had, a stack of credit cards I have are showing me that I'm already there. I don't need anybody to show or prove or validate that. And so when you start to feel really bad, you looking for that validation from outside world, and you have to be careful leaning in on that too much, because that means that you're not trusting your vision of what you're building and that you can do this. You just have to be patient. You just have to keep pushing. You got to pivot a little bit. And if your mind's not right and you feel like you're just unconfident that day, go to the therapist, call your mentor up, but don't rely on it, right? It's a system to help you pivot out of sometimes your thought process, but you can't rely on somebody else to cultivate your vision. If I would have done that, the Melanin Project would not exist today, right? If I would have done that, I would have been partnering on the building of wealth literacy. Everybody told me to go and partner with a larger organization. I said, no, I don't want that, because then that would have to change my vision and focus of what we're doing over the next couple of years related to wealth literacy. So, you have to feel confident that although you don't have no money, you're doing the right thing. And it's okay. If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, there's so much to I could ask you about. Just everything that you've been talking about for like the last 3 or 4 minutes has been incredible to me. There's just like this, you have this, you're describing like almost to me like a very spiritual connection to the mindset, where you're focusing in on what can I give the other individual, how can I serve you best without thinking about the financial gains, because you understand that the value you give and the energy you give out will eventually come back. It may not come back when you want it to, but it will eventually come back. And I think that's just very important to point out from what you just said. Hopefully y'all, again, she's dropping gems as usual. I do have my notepad here. Y'all should be out there taking notes, because I'm taking notes right now, and I'm gonna rewind this and take more notes. So another thing we've heard you say is what you don't know is you don't know what you don't know. And you kind of described that too, but how are you seeing like that show up in people's finances, especially from people in our community, like, very obvious cases?
I think that a part of it is we are afraid to look at what we created. But if you don't look at what you created, then you can't plan. It's like your budget is like your navigational system. It's like, you kind of drive in the car, and only your car, like you're the expert of that car. You've changed the oil in the car. You have, if your tires are dudded and you need to change them. So to me, that's the budget. But if you're like, I'm not going to even look at it. I'm not going to look at it. That's a mindset piece. That's why I will not work with anybody unless I start cultivating the mind first. And that's the work they have to do. There's sometimes where I'll recommend to a person, I think you might want to consider going to talk with somebody about some of the things, because you're making huge risk and you're putting your life at risk. You're putting your kids' life at risk. Why are you doing that? Right? What is your vision for your life? It can't just be about you coming into these sessions and me showing you how to budget. That's the easy part of it. But a lot of times people are afraid to even look at the roadmap of the budget. But to me, that's the wealth mindset. Even when you have a poverty mindset, trying to get yourself to that wealth mindset is very critical, because that is how you're going to get out of where you are. Looking at the budget tells you it's the roadmap. Either you need to earn more money or you need to stop spending. I mean, that's it. You need to earn more money. You need to stop spending so that you can continue to invest or save or work down your debt. But I can't help you if you don't want to go down that roadmap. And so to me, again, the only bad budget is the one you didn't make. You got to start somewhere. Yeah. And I encourage people to get into as many financial literacy programs as you can. Get into all of them. There's so many free. I have a huge community resource guide that's going to be released to participants and to the public. There are so many financial literacy programs here in Madison that are free. There is no excuse why we can't get comfortable navigating that roadmap and seeing where we are. Like, somebody can teach you something new when you go to all of those. I will be signing up for every last one. I had so many mentors at one point in time, I was overwhelmed. I had so many of them, and eventually I had to cut them down. But it's okay to get information. Information isn't going to hurt you, but I think you get the information, and we say knowledge is power, but it really doesn't matter if you're not going to do anything with the information that you have. You're not going to take action. So to be in the same position that you were in 5 years ago is because you keep snoozing. You know there's a problem, but you keep snoozing and you won't, respond to. You're not waking up. And we know the shortest period when you snooze, that goes by fast. When you retire, that alarm system keeps coming. You have the same stuff show up. You're not paying that bill, and all of a sudden you got 5 more late bills, and now you're stressed, and now it's the job fault. You're not making enough money. You begin to look outward instead of inward, and you don't have a budget. That's that's the basis. It's a start. That's financial literacy 101 right there. You got to have that budget together. That's basic. That's the most basic part of getting yourself kind of started in the journey.
That's so true. Yeah, you got to look at it. Like, you got to look at it, because there's that fear, there's that shame, there's that doubt, there's that hopelessness where you think you can't do anything. But yeah, no matter who we've talked to on this show, like, that's the thing. You either get to a rock bottom point, or you get a great word of advice from someone, or you go through a course, but something has to take you to the point where you're actually going to look at it. So I love that you said that. Yeah, because I think so many folks just walk around thinking that their situation is hopeless, or, like you said, waiting for an outside force to change it. I need to win the lottery. I need to get a different paying job, but they haven't even looked at what they have. So I love that you said that piece. I also kind of want to bring it back a little bit to the ownership piece that you have, because I think it's so important that we talk about those feelings, and the opposite of that fear, right? That pride that allows you to kind of thrive when you are an owner of something. So I love that you touched on that piece too. So when I think about you, not only have you founded the Melanin Project, but you've also founded this conference, you and Veronica. Can you tell us a little bit about, like, what is that day going to look like? I know it's sold out, so folks can't come, but I also do know that you didn't just plan this for one conference. You have this in mind as an annual reoccurring thing that folks can attend. So can you tell us about how it's set up and what you hope folks will kind of gain from it, so they can kind of get a glimpse of what you create in your vision?
Yeah, this is definitely for us. We're bringing us into this room. And we're going to make this very conversational. Our speakers are ready to engage and walk around, and
nice.
They're going to be engaged in questions. We want the audience to really participate in this and get their questions answered. We don't want folks to sit in fear in this environment. This is an environment for us to learn from each other, to network and get connected into resources that we might need, or get some of those pondering questions answered. And the big focus is on those 3 pillars. So these speakers were intentionally selected because we know that these are the critical things that are necessary to continue to navigate, right? We want people to be more economically mobile, right? If you're making $13 an hour, how do we get you to 15 or to 17? How do we connect you into a program that will help you do that, right? Are you struggling with your budget? Let's get you connected to that. Are you struggling mentally? What is the mentality of wealth? What does that mean? Dr. Pritchard is going to speak upon that. We're bringing in Victor Patterson from Atlanta to talk about leveraging career resources. And a part of that is how we show up in the work environment. Are you taking advantage of the free education that's at your job, professional development? How are you engaging? Are you waiting for somebody to engage with you? Or are you going to ask, how am I doing? Is there anything else I can do for you? Like, are you being the one that's engaging? Are there resume building services inside? Are you utilizing the benefit package from the 401k? That's economic mobility, right? Are we looking at something else while we're in the work environment? I think also, we're going to touch upon that budget at a very high level, the mentality of wealth. Denise Ali Anderson-Doss is a brilliant woman with finance, and to have her there, I'm so honored that she decided to jump on board and be with us. So she'll dive a little bit into that budget process. And then we have Coach Valia Ray, who's going to talk to us about limiting beliefs and just taking action, right? Putting all those things together in an action plan, something that's tangible and realistic, and not something that you're going to overwhelm yourself to a point where you don't get anything done because you've made too large goals, right? And you're going to feel deflated and defeated with that. So I think, honing in on that, and, at the very beginning, really establishing expectations around this not being the conference that's going to focus on oppression and racism, right? Of course, we have some panelists coming in. Dr. Damar Grady from MATC will be there, and Justice Castaneda, just brilliant. He's going to come in to bring that housing perspective and piece there, and also some of the programming that he's doing and some of his work as well. So we're excited about all these speakers being able to engage from their own way and share from their personal experience too. And so Veronica and I are going to open it up and welcome everybody in. She has her spiel. I'm going to have my spiel. And then we're going to engage. Of course, we got some free giveaways coming as well. Nice. So there'll be a special announcement from one of our sponsors this year, who's giving away, I think, something major that to me is worth probably $6,000. Again, has a lens of equity on it.
Nice.
That all our program participants are going to walk away with. And again, it's because they believe in wealth literacy, in the mission that we're trying to do, that we were able to get this free giveaway that we're going to give to participants. So again, we're just going to have a conversation in a way that we need to have it, with us in the room together. And, hopefully there'll be some breakthroughs and some tangible action items that people will take away from this. And hopefully next year, when we come back in, we're going to take it a step up. The pillars will never go anywhere, but we're going to take it up a step. Because again, if you get exposed early, now you have the information you need. And I would also say, in consideration of next year, is bringing in some child literacy as well. And that's not my arena, but I would love to bring that into the conference with organizations that are already doing that work. Mr. Bob Wynn, of course, is heavy in that area. So if we can bring it in and have somebody else manage that, I think that's important also to involve that in this segment, because as adults, we should be engaging our children in this conversation as well.
Absolutely.
I love that. I'm geeked. We're going to be in the building. I was already geeked. I'm super geeked out. That's going to be so dope. Just like you said, just like for us, right? I also love that you said, just taking the fear and the shame out of it, because that's something we try to do with all of our episodes, because we don't want to talk about money. We're all ashamed. We're all showing off, not writing off, because that's what we've been taught. That's what we've seen. So this sounds marvelous. I love the vision y'all have for this conference. I'm so geeked. Many of our listeners do have tickets. So thank you for providing some of what they can expect as well. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love how, and you were starting to allude to it, how you've interwoven community, because, with this show, community impact is kind of a huge part. All of our guests speak to it, and we make sure that we do everything we can to, highlight that involvement. Can you tell us how you've, and you started to allude to it, like I said, involve community with the conference, and also highlight how you've made it affordable for folks as well, providing scholarships and things of that sort for folks in need.
Yeah, so just to give a special shout out, you can't do anything of this nature without your community behind you. And I am so honored and grateful for not only individual sponsorships that came in to help support us. There's a huge list of those individuals, which we're going to spotlight this upcoming week, as well as just the organizations that showed up and showed out for us. Some of them were monetary donations. Some of them were other forms of donations. And we are so grateful. Again, we could not do this and cannot keep the ticket prices as they were without that support. So being able to get our venue funded, the food and dessert, some of the giveaways that are going to be taking place, and some of the other things that are placated inside the conference to create that energetic atmosphere that we're looking for. On top of that, I want to acknowledge our speakers, right? Because at the very beginning of this, we didn't have any money, right? So for them to see our mission and just say, how can I help? Like, what can we do, right? I'm willing to negotiate with you how this looks. These are speakers who are well known in their communities or nationally, and to get them to come to a conference in Madison, Wisconsin, I'm like, tell me that isn't energy. Tell me that isn't harnessing your own power, and them seeing the importance of this topic. So to me, it was a collective, right? Me and Veronica put in a lot of work together to do the list and the task. But they also help support us in monetary donations or with their time and energy and other products and services. So we are so grateful for that. And again, that goes back to show that wealth literacy and building that financial house, you have to do that with your community. Right. You can't, right? You can't be siloed and isolate yourself from this issue.
Absolutely. Man, everything just came together.
Yeah.
Energy was right.
It did. It did. The one thing that I'll share, with your listeners is that we're in a different time now. Like technology is doing some things, right? We looking at inflation, and you can see that cost of goods and services is going up. I mean, rent, bread, eggs, everything is going up, and wages are kind of stagnant. So you have to really look at that. And I don't think people are really paying attention to artificial intelligence and what's going to happen in the next 10 years with some of those jobs that low wage workers are in. They are Black and brown. So in the next 10 years, a lot of those jobs are going to be taken over by by intelligence. So I think that we also need to be preparing ourselves for that, and preparing our children for that. And these are some of the things that I think about that are intertwining with wealth literacy, and to bring awareness to that. Yes, we need to be in the moment in the day of planning, but that makes it more significant as to why we should be figuring out how to make more money. And one of the biggest ways you can do that is by owning or investing. So, are we getting prepared, whether that's through our children or through our own personal houses, or are we putting ourselves at risk to not have a job within the next 10 years? Trucking, food service. I mean, there's self-driving trucks, y'all. I saw robots in restaurants now. So
I saw McDonald's just opened up some fully automated. It's just a bunch of robots in there.
See,
operating stuff. I mean, even people even in my field that I work for in marketing, copywriting, looking at the analytics. You can just go and you can go into a machine now, ask the machine to do the job of like a whole crew of people.
Right.
And if you don't understand how to work it, you're gonna be vulnerable. So I feel like building up that wealth and not being dependent on that one stream of income, that's gonna be like required. I feel like it's required.
Yeah.
Thanks. There are a lot of entrepreneurs with W-2s. So,
right.
There are a lot of us. Oh yeah.
I was in Vegas. They had robots seating folks at tables. So I guess they had programmed the robot to take it to a specific table. They sat down and they was looking at the robot because the robot's still sitting there like this or whatever. Okay, server will be right with you. Like it must have been some delay, and then it rolled off. And it's like it's happening before our eyes, but you're right. People aren't really looking far enough into the future to see what that impact is going to be.
Right.
And I think that's a scary part. I think that's a scary part for really for the kids. What are the opportunities? How many opportunities will there be? Are y'all going to be fighting for the few spots that are available, basically in many cases, to interact with the AI to make sure that it's doing what it needs to do? And
people out here beating up robots,
right. But then that says that you need to have a better understanding and relationship with money, with wealth, so that what you do get, you're being as smart and strategic with it as possible, and that money is helping to make more money for you.
Oh yeah. Required.
Something like this to me it's vital. It's crucial right now. Maybe now more than any other time.
Very much so. You can just see it and feel it coming. I mean, with the release of Chat GPT, come on, y'all. People writing books with that thing.
I'm telling you, they're doing everything with it. And it's like not an industry that's not touched. We talked about food service and hostess, but it's like robo advisors have been in my area of finance for years, and people prefer it because people don't want to talk to anyone else right now sometimes when they're doing stuff. So it's I think you're right. The implications of what this could be, you got to have those multiple streams and then be able to adapt, because we have no idea. We can guess, but we have no idea how it's going to flip. So you got to be able to have something that's yours. And like y'all said, make sure that the money you got goes further and can work for you for real.
Double it.
Absolutely.
Double it and triple it.
Facts.
So as far as this conference is sold out.
Sold out.
So for folks that I know, sold out. So for folks that want to still be involved, want to get information, want to know about, hey, when you setting the date for the next one, what would you tell those folks that may not be able to make this one, but want to be a part of this movement, want to get that information, want to be involved, and possibly make the next one?
So we are doing an after kick it party. We'll be over at the Blind Shot Social Club. So if anybody wants to join us for a cocktail or some appetizers, we'll be there, number one, after the conference. And also, I encourage folks to join our private Facebook group. It's called the Wealth Literacy Network. We would like to just stay in touch and engage. You have some financial questions. You're looking for a resource. You're looking for a financial product. This is going to be our private space to ask questions. This is not a space to sell. If you try to sell, you're going to get deleted.
Right.
People are going to get deleted. We're here to be positive, support each other, and to keep each other encouraged throughout the year as we begin to figure out what's next, right? And I think that's something that, we have to be in discussion about of what happens mid-year versus, what's going to happen on an annual basis. I think that part is a lot easier to figure out versus trying to figure out like how we can ensure people are being contacted in the middle of that or have a place to come and ask questions in a safe space around amongst their peers. So we definitely want people to join the Wealth Literacy Network group on Facebook. I think you can search on the groups and it should pop up. You'll see that Wealth Literacy Conference symbol there.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And follow us on social, of course, on all our social platforms.
Right.
Facebook, IG, LinkedIn, Wealth Literacy Conference. So make sure to, if for whatever reason you can't find the group, message them through one of these social media outlets. And then I'm sure they'll be able to get back to you and then link you to where you need to be.
Yes.
And then you also have the Eventbrite page. Even though tickets are sold out, it's still going to be there. Now, is there information they can obtain from that page? Does that give just a rundown of what's going to happen during this particular conference?
So after the conference, the one thing I didn't share is we will release the community resource guide that we're giving away to the participants. So I would encourage folks to make sure they're following our social pages and getting in that group because we'll share it there as well. And we'll also link it on our, make a post on our general pages so that, just because you didn't attend the conference, we still want you to feel like you can connect into the community. So we'll release that guide in case folks want to access some of those programs. Inside of that is, again, home ownership programs, as well as entrepreneurship. There's some financial wellness, mental wellness is in there, and then some other programming is inside of that. So, again, I encourage people just to figure out how to just connect in somewhere, connect into some place. If it's not Wealth Literacy Network, which we encourage, connect into some place where you can start to feed your mind on this journey.
Nice.
Cool. I have two questions for you because I think we could have a moment right now. You'll be the first. This will be the first time you said it, Afra. So in the next 5 to 10 years, where do you kind of see this conference or just this movement being here? I would like to just kind of pick your mind just to see what you see. And also, are there any books that you really tapping into right now?
Well, I feel like the energy is telling me a road show is happening. Well, this conference is a road show. We can be over in South Africa, Houston, Texas, Washington, D.C., Black Currency is on the bus. We on a road show. So
We touring, right?
I think what I envision is a network of a wraparound. I don't have to provide the necessary service, but sort of a conduit, right? You have questions on insurance or taxes or accounting. You have questions on budgeting programs or services, just a place to connect in. Because what I feel like is I don't see a service where everything is kind of connected. It's somewhere. You have to go to various places to get bits and pieces, and then you often fall off, right? Nobody says, okay, this is the next step, like wealth building phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sort of that roadmap of where you can find those different things at. Because you can spend a lot of time searching for what you don't know. So why don't we just give people that information ahead of time so they already know, okay, you're here, here's some options for where you could go next. So I see that sort of as a future vision. What I'm reading right now is actually mindset work given to me by Coach Philea Ray. It's Project 369. It is fantastic.
Nice.
It's a combination of spiritual and also just manifestation. And it's, again, a heavy focus on meditation processes and techniques to draw out some of that stuff. Because I'm telling y'all, if you can figure this out, stuff just appears, and I just love it. And that's how I know it's working. I will be thinking about something and I have a problem and I want something. It just appears. Getting through this part, it just felt like, almost like an out-of-body experience, just getting to this place.
Mhm.
Money just kind of start pouring in,
Yeah.
right? Sending out letters and money just start pouring in. People were reaching out to help support this mission, right? So again, to me, that mind work and belief is so very important. And admittedly, I have ADHD. A lot of people do not know that. It is actually my superpower. And I believe it helps me be able to do so much in a small period of time. And so finance and these law of attraction, mindset related books, spiritual books are really helpful. And those are the things that I can actually read. So right now I'm reading Project 369.
Okay.
It's a great book.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. I love that. I also want to add, I think another key piece about your resource guide is that like these are vetted things that are safe for us, right? Like these are right, because there's so many folks who don't want our business or don't know how to, connect with us in the right way or aren't for us. So I love that piece too. Like this isn't just resources, this is trusted resources that we can connect into. So
Let me give a caveat on that. Let me give one caveat. Y'all know where we live at.
I do.
That's a part of the pivot process because I will just be honest, along my journey, I met some folks. And what I decided to do is I was not going to give energy to that. So what I did is I took what I needed from that program and I moved on because there were some positive things that came from some of those experiences, right? But then I realized that, time was short-lived. And sometimes when people aren't supporting your vision or your mission, you do have to move on because that can impact you. But you got to be careful, right? Not everybody's going to engage with you from your sphere. They're going to engage from theirs. And they may not see that. I mean, a lot of this behavior is unconscious, even though it's so hurtful. That's the most hurtful behavior, their unconscious behavior, right? And so they often don't even know that they're showing up in that way. And then when you call them out, you have another problem. So to me, I don't give energy to it too much. I've been in so many entrepreneurship programs here that, I just move around, like literally move around. And even when people I reach out and they're busy, I don't get offended anymore. That's like me 4 years ago. If I inbox you or ring your phone and you busy or you don't get back to me or you tell me you're going to get back to me or you tell me you're going to buy some tickets or you're going to sponsor and you don't, I don't care. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to give energy to that. That is a distraction. And so I would encourage listeners to just make sure that they're mindful that, it's a community resource guide. Staffing changes, people change. So, but I think, Opal, what you're saying is that's a long-term vision to make sure that we're connecting our folks in to people that we know are about the work and about helping address some of the disparities that we know that exist in our community. So, I always have to get that caveat.
Well, nothing's perfect and everybody's on the journey too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I feel like this conference is almost like going to a baptism or something. I'm gonna have my head dipped in the baptismal water. Right now.
I almost reached out to Pastor David Smith. Come on over here and pray for us.
Okay, yes.
Spot us out in some prayer.
He might need to come pray for us for sure.
But it's like I don't know. Maybe I'm getting that feeling because it feels like an awakening or a new beginning, or it just has that feel to it for me. And it's, man,
that's that energy. Your next business partner could be in this room.
Right.
I went to a networking event and met Veronica Barnes. You don't know where your next, thing is going to come. That thing that you've been yearning for. That's what it's about. That's empowerment and focusing on like, okay, what can we do? The solutions, right? Like, that thing that's there, it's there. We just got to pull it out, So this is going to be a jump off. I'm excited about this conference. It's going to be a complete jump off. We playing our music. We got some good food coming in. We got some of those Mo Better butter cookies coming in.
Nice. Shout out to Tisha Mo Better.
We in celebration. We're celebrating where we are today. And not thinking about anything else other than the solutions that we can put forth to better our lives. So if that means that next year somebody comes back and tells me that they have increased their wage by $17, I'm happy about that. They tell me their credit score went up 20 points, or they saved $1,000, or they didn't spend as much money, then I think we should celebrate that. I would like to bring in some empowering stories. We're always hearing the disparity story. I want to see what have you done since last year? I want to bring that couple in or bring that individual in. Like, tell us your story. What did you do? I bought a house. Great. Tell us about that process. What did you experience? What was that journey like? We need to tell that story. and not the disparity story all the time. I think that's one story, but there's so many of us. I'm in these networking events around these multimillionaires in real estate. They're Black and brown people, right? We don't see that all the time. And I think we have to normalize that. Just like when I ran into Veronica, I was like this, like, part of me also had that issue. Like, it's okay. Like, let's normalize that there are other folks out here that are taking this journey and it just looks different. Everybody's journey is different. It's okay according to your family's vision of what that looks like for you. It doesn't mean that you got to buy 20 properties. It doesn't mean that you have to own a house. Not everybody needs a house. Not everybody can afford a house. So it's another conversation that we can have. But yeah, it's going to be an empowering and an awakening space. And we're going to just be focused on positivity with each other and just loving on each other. I'm going to definitely hug Opal because I haven't seen her in a while. Definitely, I mean, a big old squeeze.
3 feet bubble, please. 3 feet bubble. No, it's gonna be a great time. I'm geeked. I'm so geeked to be there. It's gonna be popping.
Transformational.
Oh yeah,
that's how I see it.
Excited to have you all too. Your podcast is amazing. I was actually I saw Jermaine Butler recently. He told me that somebody recognized him from your podcast at the gym. He was like, "Who is it?" Yeah, man, just kind of approached him. He was like, "Oh no, I saw you on the podcast." I'm like, yeah.
One of my favorite stories in life. Oh man,
right.
Oh man, shout out to JB.
Yeah.
So y'all keep that vision for the road show.
I love that.
It could be like wealth literacy and black currency.
I can see the bus now, and I can see the bus now.
Yeah, big bus. With your own private areas, and because I know Oprah gonna need her own station and stuff. Oh yeah.
I want the back part with the king bed and the bathroom and all that. That's the part I want.
My creative space.
On the road show.
Oh,
exactly. Yeah.
All right. So, folks tuning in, you already know what you got to do. If you can't make, if you aren't lucky enough to get a ticket, that's all right. You can connect online, Facebook, IG, LinkedIn. There's a private group in which you can go and ask questions on Facebook. It don't get any better than that. It's a safe space for you to ask and get the answers that you need to take that next step forward. So if you aren't there in person, I implore you to start following online. Make sure you get this sheet when it comes out with the community resources. Look those up. See what things that you are able to enter into on your own. But if you're not getting those questions answered, there's a place online for you. So know that there's a safety net.
Thanks.
For our folks listening to this, yes, we are in season 2. And we had Veronica Barnes on right before this one. So you got to not only rewind this back and listen to this again because there's so many jewels, but you need to make sure that you hit for sure our first episode with Veronica Barnes that just dropped. And you might as well go. If you haven't heard the first season, I don't know what you waiting on. The first season.
Starts with Afra.
So yes,
right.
Start with Wealth Literacy Conference. Go there first. Make sure you follow. You can always follow us, BLK Currency Podcast, Facebook, IG. You got the video up on YouTube /Radio22. Make sure to check that out. We want to thank you for coming on, especially the week Everything is going on, and it's like I'm like, we're going through this. So we are beyond grateful to have you back because the first episode was incredible. It really you really set it off. So we appreciate and we're thankful for you for being the first person to come on and set this whole thing into motion.
That's right.
And we appreciate you taking the time, especially in a busy week like this, to come back, spend time with us, spend time with our listeners and our viewers to continue to drop knowledge and to speak about this incredible transformational baptismal. Is that
You said baptismal.
Man.
You know you're rapping when you
correct my English.
Right, okay, rapper and a preacher at the same time.
gonna put that in on you.
Well, I appreciate you all,
okay.
of course. I think the platform that you all have created is amazing. It is much needed. And so I'm grateful to you all for your support as well of me in my journey. So thank you all for having me on the show again. And I look forward to coming back.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to that tour bus. Remember, I called spot in the back, and then you need our faces real big on the side of the bus. Real big green bus, like I said.
See?
Okay.
I just need a table. I just need a
Done.
table for some beach, yo. That's all I need.
Yeah, he'll keep the
My
sound.
laptop, you
Yeah.
know what I'm
It's going to be
saying?
the next show. You was for real about that bus? Yep, I told y'all.
Oh yeah, I'm with the bus. By that time, Corey's album will drop. It'll be about 2026. He can do shows by night, conferences by day. It's on.
Now that's the plan. I like that vision.
There you go.
That's forward thinking.
There you go.
All right, so thank you again. And to our listeners, thank you. One love. We appreciate y'all tuning in again. Until next time, y'all.
Yeah.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
Ain't you sick of giving me your money?
Oh, I know he didn't do it, baby.
Hold on a second. Whoa, where you going?
No, I'm about to go make these drop balls.